Hey everyone, it's Strange Michael. I hope you're doing well today. I have a review for one of my favorite films to watch during the summer. Summer is basically at its end now. We're pretty much into the fall now that September's begun. But I watched this a couple of weeks ago and I've really wanted to get around to making a review for it because I love the movie so much. I actually reviewed all three of the films in this trilogy on another channel. I think it's the same one that has the same name as this channel, Night of the Living Dude. But I got rid of that channel, well not really, but I don't use it anymore is what I'm trying to say. I don't think I'll rewatch all three of these this year because the sequels aren't that good. Like 2's pretty awful, 3 I actually like, but I don't want to watch it right now. It's already in September. I want to watch a lot of Halloween stuff to get ready for next month. But anyway, this is a 1987 classic from director Joel Schumacher, who brought amazing classics out like Batman Forever, Batman and Robin. Yes, I like both. I like both. They're toy commercials, but I like both. Shut up. Then we have Phone Booth that he made with Colin Farrell, which is excellent. One of the best thrillers that have come out in my lifetime, I believe. St. Elmo's Fire, one of the best films from the 80s that I think came out right before this movie, if I remember correctly. Anyway, that movie here is a horror kind of comedy called The Lost Boys, starring Jason Patric and Kiefer Sutherland and the Coreys, Corey Haim and Corey Feldman, Jamie Gertz, Alex Winters from Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure is in this too. The not Keanu Reeves guy. Anyway, The Lost Boys, as I said, has 2 sequels. The Tribe, which I've seen a bunch of times since it came out. This is like a 2007 or 8 release. And then The Thirst, which I actually really like quite a bit. If you haven't seen this one, check it out. So, let's talk about this first movie though. 80s classic. It was made for teenagers. Joel Schumacher originally was handed a script that was about little boys. And he was like, no, we need to make a teenager movie. This would feel more impactful and timeless if the kids were a little bit older. So probably the youngest kid in here is probably Corey Haim. He's supposed to be playing like a 12-year-old. But he and his brother, his older brother, Michael, who was played by Jason Patric, good name by the way, Michael. I wonder why I would say something like that. Anyway, they get brought into a new town called Santa Carla, by the way, to live with their grandfather now that their mom and their dad split up, and their mom is there too. It's a very Goosebumps setup for a story, and I love that because I love Goosebumps, as many of you know. And when they come into the town, they see on the back of a billboard, it's spray painted, the murder capital of the world, and they begin to joke about this until they realize, yeah, there's a lot of killings out here that never get resolved by law. No one ever gets arrested. A lot of serial killings, that kind of thing. And eventually, Michael and Corey, or not Corey, damn, what is his name? Michael and Sam. Sam is the younger brother Corey Haim plays. They go out to like a boardwalk concert thing where this big, oily, saxophone, muscular dude is playing this song from Russ Taff, of all people, called I Still Believe. It's an excellent song if you haven't heard it. I'll get into the soundtrack in a moment. But while they're at this concert at the boardwalk and their mom's looking around for a job out there, basically Michael sees this girl that he thinks is gorgeous, played by Jamie Gertz, named Star. And she is a knockout in this movie. He begins to go after her, he loses her. Next night he goes out looking for her again and figures out really quickly that she's tied in with a kind of a motorcycle gang of young guys led by Kiefer Sutherland that are dressed up very wacky. It's very 1980s. They look so fucking cool. I love it. I love the way they dressed up. I love the outfits, the jackets, everything. But they ride motorcycles and stuff. She's apparently with Kiefer Sutherland. She's the only girl in the group, so that kind of sets you up to kind of wonder, what is she really into? But they also have a little boy. I think his name is Laddie or something. I can't remember what that kid's name is. Seen the movie a billion times since I was a kid. I still don't know what they call that kid's name. I have IMDb right here. I could look it up, but I'll get you on a little secret here. I don't give a shit. Anyway, so Michael begins to go after Star, and David tells him, like, hey, let's have a race on our motorcycles down the beach. If you can beat me down to this particular area, she could be yours, or you can hang out with us, or something. Michael does the race with Kiefer Sutherland, one of the best races in movies ever. The Wraith, if you've seen that with Charlie Sheen, has nothing on this movie. And that movie is almost entirely about ghostly races and stuff. Has nothing on this movie at all. That motorcycle chase gives me chills every time I watch it. But that's a lot of this movie, for that matter. So, Michael almost dies. The guys kind of bring him in to their gang and eventually have him drink this red wine, which, as you know, this being a vampire film, for people who have seen the movie, it's probably not red wine. And Michael begins to notice his changes about himself. And his little brother, played by Corey Haim, happened to go to a comic book shop locally in that area at the boardwalk. And he met two very weird, strange guys. One of them played by Corey Feldman. And these two are called the Frog Brothers, Edgar and Alan Frog. Not Poe, Frog. It's great. I love that. Dude, we don't do stuff like that anymore. Joel Schumacher was a genius anyway. The writers for this film that all worked together were geniuses in my opinion too, and they didn't even do much. Two of them out of the three really didn't do much. But dude, the writing is so tight, the pacing is so tight on this movie. There's no room to add anything or need to add anything or need to take anything away. It's perfect in every way possible. Not a frame of this movie is wasted or boring. But when he meets these two Frog Brothers who sell comics for their parents, they're hippies, they happen to be talking to him and try to sell him off on a free comic about vampires to kind of warn him about Santa Carla being kind of overrun with vampires. Now, let me tell you a couple of things. It had to have been split in a way that's like 60 or 70% of people are humans, 30 to 40% are vampires. You could not possibly be outnumbered by these things, even though they're very strong, they're very dangerous. When the film has blood, it's usually because these things are violent as hell. These things will fuck you up if you go up against these vampires, apparently. But Corey Haim says, I'm not into horror, I don't like comics that are about horror, not into vampires, I don't really want this, I'm looking for Superman stuff. And they don't really beg him, but they try to warn him forcibly, like Crazy Ralph from Friday the 13th. Like, you want to read this. So eventually, he talks to them again, he takes the comic with him, and begins to notice the same things Michael is noticing about himself. All these weird things are happening. He doesn't really like to be out in daylight, kind of evades the family a little bit. Even this wacky grandfather that I love to death. He's like a taxidermist and a weirdo. I think he's retired. I love the grandfather in the movie. He's so funny and so quotable. But Michael is acting very strange. Jason Patric is awesome. He looks like a more badass George Michael. You know, I just love the guy. I love him and everything I've seen him in. There's a thriller out there called Narc. If you haven't seen Narc with Ray Liotta and Jason Patric, what are you doing with your life? It is amazing. It's wonderful. You need to check it out. Busta Rhymes is in that movie too. Might not sell you on it, but it's great. So The Lost Boys, the filmmaking is wonderful. The cinematography is wonderful. Kiefer Sutherland may give the best performance of his entire career in this movie. He is so intimidating but charming. He's just badass. The other vampires really don't say much of anything. I think Alex Winters has maybe 2 lines in the movie. But those other vampires don't really have to say much to be effective for what they're doing in this movie. They're fun to watch, all 4 of them. All 4 of the vampires. And watching this love story between Star, Jamie Gert's character, and Michael is just so much fun. It's romantic in a weird way. It's kind of sexy in a weird way too. All of this stuff just culminates into an amazing movie. One that I wish we had gotten better sequels for, but I wish we'd never gotten 80s sequels for, you know? But I kind of do. I feel like this is the kind of movie and series you can't really make modern day movies and shows and spin-offs of and make it work. I don't think you can. I've even read comics based on this, and it doesn't work. I don't think you can do it. Without Joel Schumacher's magic touch, you can't really do it, man. Schumacher was one hell of a director. He also directed Flatliners, by the way, if you haven't seen that, a great horror film that I may need to rewatch this year for the fall. I really want to see that again. I've seen it one time in my life, and it's a masterpiece. As The Lost Boys is, as Phone Booth is, as most of St. Elmo's Fire is, even though you hate all those characters watching that movie. But The Lost Boys, I would say the highlight of the film, 2 of the highlights, are the amazing practical effects. They are wonderful. I don't care if we're talking vampire makeup. The vampire makeup in this was stolen by Buffy the Vampire Slayer, the TV show. Maybe even the movie. I haven't seen the Buffy movie that came out before the show. But the makeup looks excellent. The practical effects for the gore or for the fights and whatever, they're incredible. Dude, everything is so fucking good in this movie. And the best thing I personally think is the soundtrack. If this movie did not have the soundtrack it had to try to just draw you in with atmosphere, I don't know what else it was for. I don't know if the movie would be as successful without Cry Little Sister as its theme song, or some of the other songs on here, like the Russ Taff song I talked about, I Still Believe. You can see a picture on Facebook of somebody posting in a movie group, that saxophone guy, and you will know the song. It'll be in your head immediately. And I'm one of those people that don't even have a voice in my head. That song comes in my head every time I see that picture. The Lost Boys is perfect. It's perfect. It's a masterpiece. It's perfect. And that's hard for me to say that a director like Schumacher could just make masterpiece after masterpiece. He's one of those guys like Carpenter that just nails it every time he does something. Forever and Batman and Robin are not his fault. I don't care what anybody says. He was told to make a toy commercial and he did. And when I was a kid, I loved those movies because they looked like toy commercials. They were fun to watch as a kid. They were not for adults, period. I think a lot of comic book stuff could be better for kids than adults. You know, that's just the matter of it, as much as I hate to say it, and I love my serious superhero films and stuff, but Joel Schumacher could get the job done on anything he had to do. Incredible director. He deserves way more credit. His name deserves to be just everywhere, more than I think Wes Craven, even though Wes Craven was mainly a horror low-budget guy. That's why he's considered the master of horror, king of horror, whatever, even though I would give that label to Carpenter. Joel Schumacher should have been known everywhere. The Lost Boys proves that. This is not for this is for everybody. This is a movie made for everybody. Everybody can watch this and get something out of it and be on the edge of your seat with fights, with the chase scene I talked about. This movie has everything. The characters in it, all of it, dude. It's just fucking perfect. The villains are perfect. The twists are perfect. All of it is just magnificent. And to wrap it up in a way, before Goosebumps even existed, but it feels like an episode of Goosebumps, one of those longer ones, like the two-parters, like Night of the Living Dummy 3 or Stay Out of the Basement or something. I love it. I love it so much. It's just perfect. It's so damn good that many years later, a film that I'm watching right now, matter of fact, that I've never seen before, I've heard about it a million times, Ginger Snaps, very clearly has taken the formula of this movie and applying it to a werewolf story. I love Ginger Snaps so far. Great movie if you haven't seen it. Can't wait to talk about it. But Lost Boys, dude, what a magnificent movie. I love it. I think it's incredible. It's perfect. Blows the sequels out of the water. You don't even have to waste your time on those if you don't want to. This is a great standalone movie. It's wonderful. It's perfect, like I said. So anyway, have you seen The Lost Boys? I'm sure you have if you're watching this review. You can't miss out on it if you haven't seen it. It's just so damn good. Man. Makes me want to rewatch it again, dude. Even down to the child actors like the Coreys. They're so good, dude. So anyway, The Lost Boys, what do you think about it? What do you think about the sequels? Again, sometime maybe next year I'll try to rewatch those and review them, but man, I don't want to. I just really, really, really do not want to watch them and review them again. I did that for that other channel, like I said, and it just... not feeling it, man. This year I was like, I just want to sit down and watch Lost Boys 1. I just want to enjoy it like I do every summer. I've seen it a billion times and it gets better every time I watch it. By the way, in the soundtrack, they have one of my favorite bands of all time, The Doors, playing quite a bit. So that's a big highlight on this movie too, for me and for you, because The Doors kicks ass. So anyway, The Lost Boys, let me know your thoughts on everything down below. Have you read any of the comics? I'd love to hear what other people have to say about that too. I don't think many people have read it or even know about it, but that's messy. So anyway, thank you guys once again. God bless you all. Catch you later. And now that we're into September, and I think I'm pretty much caught up on my reviews, aside from some things I'm watching like Ginger Snaps on streaming, let me know what you would like to see more reviews of this year. I have a lot of stuff I plan on watching, stuff that I haven't seen in a long time, like the Dracula Universal Monster sequels. I want to rewatch the Frankenstein sequels. Beetlejuice comes out this week. I plan on rewatching the first Beetlejuice sometime this weekend, maybe before I go see the new one. I want to review both of those, God willing. I got a lot of stuff I want to watch this year, so I'm pretty excited about all the things to talk about this year with you guys. Let me know things that you have a recommendation for in September to talk about. And yeah, thank you all for watching, guys. Look out for some great new videos coming out at some point. God bless you guys again, and goodbye.